GMOs, not just because of the GMO, like the actual fruit that is GMO,
Right.
genetically modified,
Right.
but because of the destruction of the microbiome. You know what I'm saying? The destruction of the microbiome, though. In other words, when you start to destroy the soil and you start to destroy the nutrients, there's actually less enzymes, there's actually less actual, that microbiome, all of the stuff that everybody's trying to get probiotics from.
Right.
And there's less of that in people's bodies now today, and so there's less to deal with it. So now when the body gets stuff into its body, it has less help. It accepts everything more as foreign agent, and now that the diets are more and more processed,
Right.
there are more foreign agents. You know, and you have certain rules like the FDA. Now you can you can take two natural ingredients in nature and blend them synthetically and make a complete mutant out of that, and that will be seen as a natural ingredient. You know, so these are problems. These are problems. Places like Okinawa, even if it's not vegan, places like Italy, not every place in Italy, but places like Italy where they're making their own olive oils. You know what I mean? They're pressing them, cold pressing them. Right? And a lot of people don't know what cold press is. Cold press means that, you know, you're squeezing those olives or whatever it is that you're squeezing. But once that machine reaches a certain temperature, they have to stop.
Right.
And they have to get it back to that temperature. It has to at or below a certain temperature. And so none of the enzymes, none of the nutrients in there are destroyed.
Right.
You know, so now it's been a thing. You see, they sell a lot of shit like, you know, at other places that are bullshit. But if you go to Starbucks and stuff like that, you'll see cold pressed juices in there. That's the jewel that's in the Starbucks. But I don't see anything else worth drinking in there. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You know, you just see, you know, so much caffeine in these coffees and espressos, though. You might have just do a line and just leave. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Right.
just do a line of Coke and just go. Just be on your way. You know what I mean? But I'm trying to think. So that all encompasses like the Mediterranean diets, where there's like a lot of natural food, natural making of food and stuff like that. And in this processed world that we look at those foods, they may not be as good for us. But out there where they make it fresh, though, it's different. You know what I'm saying? So it's different, you know? But as far as the world's different foods, though, I can't say I'm an expert like that. You know what I'm saying? I think that most of the foods I've eaten, I've stayed to a lot of the Asian staples that have been good for me. Like, as far as drinking food, tempeh, I'm saying, for protein, tempeh, and then my drink, kombucha, you know, which is a fermented tea that's mixed with juice, and, you know, and I'm gonna say this, it's not a kombucha, though, if they put sugar in it, though. You know what I mean?
You know what I learned about tempeh from? You probably heard of Dr. Gary Noel.
Gary Noel, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah,
his show is still on though, so a lot of good information. Yeah, still.
Yeah. I saw about his store too, and that ain't out there on Broadway.
Yeah, right. It used to be on 80. What was it on?
86 or 80.
Cause you know, because they had the 84th and Broadway was the theater, and then because his office used to be on 84th, but the health food store was more down.
Right.
Yeah.
But he moved the store up now.
Yeah, I haven't been there so much. The major store I go to if I'm in Manhattan and stuff like that, besides Trader Joe's, because you need Trader Joe's.
Right.
It's Westerly on Columbus Circle.
Okay.
And that's the Westerly market. Yeah, as far as the Caribbean diet though, you know, like people get so stuck on the meat. And everything like that, and like let's say places like Puerto Rico, it's hard to judge what a diet is because it's so denatured by the American way. It's been denatured even by the Spaniards' ways. You know what I mean? But a lot of the natural foods of the island, though, when they're stressed, you know, the remedies that go along with that. Because I think, especially in the Caribbean, a lot of the remedies are part of the diet.
Right.
You know, the herbal remedies and all these things, they're part of the diet. Just like the Chinese, you know what I mean? These are part of the diets, you know what I'm saying? So I think for us making a diet, though, especially like with the 85, you know, this is a signifier for them. What they eat, you know what I'm saying? You get off pork, though, you're not really Puerto Rican, you're not really this, you know what I'm saying? And, you know, this is where we have to say, like, yo, if you're really a strong, you know, if you're really as strong in any of the cultures you're in, though, you're powerful enough to make a culture for them, you know what I'm saying? Right? Salsa's basically a pretty new music in Puerto Rican history. You know what I mean? Someone had to sit down and say, make that. They didn't say, I can only do what the traditional music is. You know what I'm saying? They made up something new.
It's funny that you brought up though, like because I never heard that. Like you're not real Puerto Rican if you don't eat pork.
Oh yeah, I hear that all the time.
But it's funny though because when I was in college and I was doing the science on the history in the island, and it was said that that was actually the Europeans that actually brought the pig onto the island.
Yeah, they're not native to the Caribbean.
Right. So if as a Puerto Rican, you're a descendant of the Taínos. So how if I was
Not all the time, no.
Well, not all the time, but everybody got a percentage.
Right.
It's still a low percentage. If anybody does, it's still gonna have a percentage of that if you're from that island. But that's how my bill would be when building on that, right?
Yeah.
Coming north of port, it's like that's not even your original diet. If you are making or proclamation as a Taino, Arawak, or Carib, or any of those indigenous people, that's not something that is native to
Yeah. It's hard to do things when you liken things to what it was. You know, I've heard people say, well, I eat pork now because when the original, I've heard this is a real thing, the original Taínos, they ate like the mice and everything that was running around. They ate game, you know? And it's like, wow. So they ate rodents that were game at that time. So, you stepped it up by eating the pig, I don't know what to say to that though. I call it a day, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
You just let them have it, right?
Yeah. If you're using the idea that our ancestors used to eat like, small rodent game, man, you know what? Swine
Wouldn't you want?
legs,
Wouldn't you
swine
want to
legs.
do better? Like, wouldn't you want to,
Yeah.
take care,
It's supposed
be
to-
better than the ancestors, right?
Right. You're supposed to elevate,
Yeah.
but some people, still stuck.
It's all what's convenient though, because these are some of the same Puerto Ricans that don't really listen to Puerto Rican music. I'm like, how come I can't say that to you though? You don't listen to Hector Lavoe, you're not Puerto Rican, which I do think that's true. I don't think you're Puerto Rican if you don't listen.
Good.
Right? I don't know the exact uses of sea moss and stuff. I've had sea moss, but I never was a hefty user of sea moss. So all of its benefits as far as like the stomach and everything like that, I don't know. I know that the stomach is always aided by anything that has a lot of pre and probiotics, you know what I'm saying? That has helped me a lot though. So that's why I mentioned kombucha and stuff like that, you know what I'm saying? And I'm a big tea drinker,
I heard that sea moss, too much of it is not good, but you have like what's that, bottle rock? What's it?
Bubble rock.
Bottle rock. It's like bottle rock. I think it is that.
It's a root.
It's a root, and I think you combine that, and it kind of helps you
Baccarat,
balance some of the things that, because say like sea moss is good, but too much people like so Sebi recommends.
Okay.
He recommended a lot.
Baccarat root. I think.
What's that? Bottle rock.
I think it's
Yeah, because I think when you're dealing with herbs, especially though, these herbs have to liken themselves to you. You have to have the right amount, everything like that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
But too much of anything is always bad.
Yeah.
Well, dealing with herbs, you need kind of like being like a chemist, how to
Yeah, you really are.
mix
You
the
really are,
mix
yeah.
and everything. Shout out to Now Saeed, he put me onto a couple of things.
That's big.
God, I wanted to ask you about
Yeah, let me know.
about it being the 50th anniversary, and they celebrating the 50th anniversary of hip hop, but there's really no mention of the gods. So I had a
Yeah, that's a good,
because
yeah.
Born King, not your Born King, the other Born King. He actually just went off. He went off this morning, talking about how Chuck D. They just did something like Fight the Power on PBS.
Oh yeah, I didn't see that.
Yeah, I didn't see it either, but I've been meaning to watch it, and it's on YouTube.
Okay.
But they didn't mention the gods. Like he's like, I saw the first episode and they didn't mention the gods. In the second episode, It ain't, and you know, like when Born King, when he's hitting a point, he's gonna take you there. You know what I'm saying?
I'll say this though, right? I'm gonna say this though, because I have to throw this dart out first, right? Because I'm the only one that's doing that. This. I think most journalism today is only going back to give you things that were missed in the 90s, or to elaborate extra about things we already know about the 90s, maybe breaching a little bit into the 2000s, but they're really just rehashing stuff. So all of these so-called artists that are now journalists, though, that's all they're doing is they're dipping back. That's how they, whether they're good like Kweli or whether they're not so good like others, right? So there's no journalism about today's era, though. Okay? That's a plug for me and me only, because you know who's doing it? Me. That's
You're the journalist.
But anyway, on that subject of thing, I don't expect any of them to have that kind of stuff in there. You know what I'm saying? In my personal journey of cataloging stuff, we get ignored when we talk about what we've done, and I have it two-pronged stuff. As a 5%er, we get ignored, but also it's Puerto Rican history as well. You know what I'm saying? So those two things, I'm very used to being ignored. So like the whole Puerto Rican thing, though, we had to get crazy legs to give real documentation, and you have to go through it with the fine-tooth comb just to prove stuff that everybody in the Bronx that was there really did know, and a lot of people were just acting like they didn't know. You know, acting like, oh, the first day that we had the first party, I didn't see a Puerto Rican there, so they weren't in the whole thing. As if the whole elements were made in one day. Like, they gotta think, hey, this is a crazy thing, hip-hop. We just, you know, August 12th, I think we're gonna go back and do some more hip-hop. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was made in one fucking day.
Right.
When in reality, for about a whole year or 2 or 3, they're really just dancing the same dances that were in the hustle, that were in the other stuff, right? They're not really doing anything until new things are, then the thing develops, right? Then when I became 5%, because I was writing in magazines when I was 85.
Okay.
Right? So that's from 94 on. So then, and by the time it's like 99, I'm even double bitter. So I'm like, wait a minute though. You want to write about these 5% MCs, but you don't want to have me go talk to them? You know what I'm saying? None of you even know what they're talking about. And the best example I could give is when A-Son Unique, Old Dirty Bastard, you know what I'm saying? When he returned to the Essence, I was just a writer there at the Source at the time, and Day-Son was an editor. He wasn't editor-in-chief just yet, the God Day-Son, right? Allah. And he, we were gonna do that piece, and I remember Freedom Allah, right? Remember the Perfection, Freedom Allah too, as well as A-Son. Papa Wu, we were gonna get a piece from him though, but he just didn't trust that what we would give the Source wouldn't be mutilated and destroyed and corrupted. And that's what he told me, because I was the one interviewing him. And I said, can I just do this thing because I just want to know. So it's just history that I want to know. I'm not gonna make a story. And they gave the story, you know, and they gave it to make it more highlight. They gave it to a white guy to write the obituary column for Old Dirty in the Source. You know what I'm saying? Mind you, they were you should have seen. I probably took. I know I took it out of my mind. The way that they analyzed us, you know, sticking pins like a motherfucking nurse. You know what I mean? The way they analyzed these lines sounded like he was rapping about an old granny lacking a thimble. You know what I'm saying? Like they had no idea what the verses meant. And then after a while, me and Day-Son was just like, we're not gonna tell them anything. We're gonna let them write that bullshit.
Was it
No?
Was it before? No, that was after they sold
No, this is when Dave Mason still was there.
Oh, they still there.
But he was no juggernaut of the sound. All that stuff that people say, like, the Source was great and things like that, they had great writers by accident. They had great writers by accident. All that stuff because they had great actual writers that happened to converge at that time. It's not that they were scouted out, but they, except for like a few legends like Bones Malone, who obviously, you know, is the father of my element because he made it creative. You know what I'm saying? And I finished it, you know? But they made so many mistakes about artists over the years, especially our culture. You know what I'm saying? People always bring up that old issue, the 5% Summit or Nation of Islam, and they had like King Son on it. They were like, oh look, they always represented us. I can't tell you how many mistakes they had issue after issue. And this was in all the magazines. You know what I'm saying? I was pretty much blackballed, but you know the better word is, because they do it on Twitter now, so now it's a better word now, shadow banned. You don't know that you're being blackballed, but you're kind of not. Shadow banned. So I like that word for myself. That was my history. Shadow banned. You know what I mean? When I did a piece for J Live, the God Justice Allah, right? That Medina MC moved out to Atlanta, made tons of great albums, right? One of the greatest MCs of the 2000s. That's a fact. You know what I'm saying? All of the above LP 2002 must have. You know what I'm saying? Must have a special record of those years. I call the dark ages in the 2000s. We joked, because he knew I was a 5%er, because oh, I knew you was a 5%er. You kept saying peace when we was talking and we was hooking up, right? So, and he was teaching me because I was new to the knowledge. He was teaching me. This was like 1999 when I just got the knowledge, and he was like, "Yo, make sure that they don't say I'm a Muslim, though." You know what I'm saying? You know? And I said, "Oh yeah, no doubt, no doubt." You know what I'm saying? I give him the piece. We open it up. Show and prove section. Show and prove section, by the way, though. A section named like they had ALX, a section called ALX and XXL, like they had show and prove. These are sections that I know the person that made them up because they bragged about it to me, a 5%er, and told me, look what I made up. A section called show and prove. A section called ALX. And I'm like, wow, motherfucker, wow, you really, really innovative, you know? So when I tell people I was burning bridges, how was I not supposed to light the match? You know what I'm saying? So this disrespect was like, they didn't care to write about A-Sun and say he was a 5%er. He really was. The people that loved him most were 5%ers or filled with him, because there are a lot of people that loved him that weren't 5%ers, right? His family's big, and I met many of his family that aren't 5%ers. But you got to have that angle in there. Because he was that to the very end, you know? No matter how off the wall he was, how eccentric, whatever like that, right? And you know my history, God, with Day Son. Being eccentric is not a disqualifier for you being a true living God. You know what I'm saying?
Do you know how that got to be there and how it came into fruition?
Because if it was, then I wouldn't be here. You know what I'm saying? No matter how mild-mannered and calm people see me, I wouldn't be here if the most eccentric, most dynamic person in the universe didn't bring me here with all the bells and whistles. You know what I'm saying?
In the name of the Father, Day Son, and the Holy Smoke.
All the bells and whistles, though. You know? But they have always disrespected the 5% because a lot of the writers there thought that they knew what that was. And over the years, it grew to where they thought they knew of it out of disrespect. Meaning that, like we had situations where like, oh yeah, well, I was in the Nation of Islam, so I know about this stuff. I say, you don't know about this shit. You know what I'm saying? You don't know about this shit. I'm gonna hit you with a fucking bean pie right now. You think you know this shit about us, though, and everything you're writing about here is wrong. And that's why the homage to Old Dirty in the source was pitiful to me. It was disgusting. You know what I'm saying? It was disgusting. And they did everything. They write him like a loony. They don't write about how much. See, one of the things they don't realize about Old Dirty Bastard is something I've learned about teaching people all of that, right? That the Wu-Tang is a case study for dealing with this knowledge in a very highly magnified commercial environment. The most difficult environment. I didn't say that they did everything right. But if you're acting like you would do everything right and you're going to Monday morning quarterback people that were in situations that you would never be in. I've seen people talk shit about, oh, well, I would have done this if RZA talked the wrong way here. He has talked the wrong way. Ray ain't said the wrong things, but he's very articulate. But they Monday morning quarterback stuff, though, and I have seen them fumble the ball with 10 people in front of them. You know? And so so when we look at old Dirty, A-Sun Unique, right? We look at someone that, like, it's heavy to hold this knowledge. And then you go up to all these places and you see, listen, the devil that we're talking about ruling, though. It's a little different when you see the devil actually in ruling mode. You see what I'm saying? We're watching TV, we're watching everything. We analyze that they're ruling. No. He's seeing them ruling. they own this, and he's not allowed to get in there unless they allow him.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? They don't, like back then when you made a record, especially like our stuff,
Right.
they thought they had well-meaning. They were almost like the good white folk, that take you through the liberators. You know what I'm saying? The abolitionists.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like Dante Ross, they walk brand Nubian into the label, the abolitionist, you know what I mean? I understand you, and I'm going to bring you to the label, But they don't understand all this stuff. And by the time that Wu-Tang came out, it was really because of Wu-Tang. This is a side note.
Right.
Because since they're not giving any 5% history,
Right.
that's really why. It's really because it started with Public Enemy, but with the proliferation of Brand Nubian and then Wu-Tang, especially Wu-Tang, where you had lyrics that had to be deciphered.
Yeah.
This was when having lyrics annotated and then soon to be analyzed with Genius.com. But annotated was very important though.
Right.
Because record labels were like, I don't know what I'm signing here because I don't know what he's saying here. You know what I'm saying? Because remember Biggie? There are lines in Biggie's both albums that are muted out.
Yes.
They're not muted out because they're mad deep. They have like drools in them. They're muted out because they say offensive shit
Right.
that is a little too far.
Right.
What do you mute out with the Wu-Tang? You don't know what the hell they're talking about.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because if you mute out Raekwon stuff, you're like, oh no, but we want the drug stuff in there. That's okay. You know what I'm saying? You want the drug stuff in there. But then he's talking about like, but then there's lines in there about getting the knowledge. Like, do we take that out?
Right.
I don't understand. So I have no idea what to take out.
Right.
You know what I mean? And that's where like original hip hop lyrics archive came from. You know what I'm saying?
Well, it goes to the question of, who are we giving our culture to
Yeah.
actually be at the helm of that and driving.
Because
driving
remember
it.
back then, just like when I was a writer, I couldn't write and just say, yo, this is dope. Put this shit in there.
Right.
I did do that. It didn't work though. That's how I was in all the magazines. I was like, yo, you accept me as dope, right?
Right.
Then put this shit in there. It's like, well, and that's not from like other white people. It's black folk.
Yeah. Right.
That's telling me that bullshit. And then and you see the white man looking beyond, like, from behind, And so that I cannot write unless someone else okays it. So you can't be on a label unless somebody else okays it. Somebody has to say okay to it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Why do you think that, people respect what RZA did? Because it's really a magic trick what he did. Especially that they kept saying things that became more arcane. Arcane meaning that it's for the listener to analyze, and he probably won't get it.
Right.
That's why it's still arcane, because that's why today the Wu-Tang is like more of a cult, and you kind of wear it, right? People kind of wear the gear, but they don't really know what that really means, though. It's like, it's cult following, though. It's a lot of men saying all that crazy shit.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's fun. And Old Dirty was kind of the peak to that, because he had deep things to say. You know what I mean? But look, one of the deepest verses that he has is on a song that they left and put it on the soundtrack instead of the Wu-Tang 5 album. He's got.
I was his barber. I was his barber.
That's Big's guy.
Big, yeah.
Yeah, every time they say somebody dope, you come in and say, oh, that was his barber.
Yeah, I was his barber. He was cutting my barber shop
Yeah.
on 121st Street.
That's Big's guy.
Yeah. Besides Dot X, I did a few of them. Biz Marquee.
See, this is what I'm saying, guys.
Right. Well, you know what it's interesting, because it's our responsibility, God, to tell us. It's not PBS's
No, it's not.
responsibility. It's not Chuck D's or Karen Swan's responsibility to tell our history.
Yeah.
It's our responsibility. So, I get why the God is fuming about why they left us out. But
Yeah, I would never do that, because I've already known that they've been fumbling the ball
the whole time.
in the eras that everybody says were the great eras.
Right.
I felt they were fumbling the ball since '93. So
Right.
I don't have any kind of qualms about saying that they was dope with this or dope with that. I think that most of the stuff that they ever wrote that was good was by the quality of the journalists that they had, but not necessarily that the knowledge experience that they had. They didn't have journalists of the street, which is very rare for music. You know what I mean?
Right.
They had journalists that were just good, really good writers and interpretive writers.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? but they didn't have too many Bones Malones. Like they were on the street and they just have the gift for writing and all of it's there. So that's what they were making do with, and they made great stuff because of that. But there were a lot of mistakes when you go through those old issues. I know because I spent a lot of time in the source looking through their old issues. You know what I mean? Because what were we writing? We were writing frivolous shit. It took me 5 minutes to write what they wanted. When I wrote something deeper, they were like, "Oh, that's bad deep." You know what I'm saying?
Too deep.
Right, too deep.
So I was like, "Let me write the bullshit." But I spent my time digging, looking at stuff, taking records. I got my copy of Jay Dilla's Donuts before it came out because they threw it in an old bin and nobody gave a shit about it. They didn't even know who it was. And that's not just them. Nobody knew that was going to be a great album unless you heard it. Nobody knew that was going to be a classic of classics and a quintessential instrumental album. And they weren't on it though. They laughed at me. I keep it real. They weren't the only magazine because it was a long career. They laughed at me as well as other magazines when I pitched them MF Doom. And I pitched the Source MF Doom when he was on Adult Swim. Like how much? That's pretty pop. I thought I'd get like, give me a page. You know what I mean? Give me half a page.
Right.
Give me a box. You know what I mean? Give
And
me
considering his career, like they wasn't
you
trying
know,
to.
but other magazines laughed at me when I said Doomsday was going to be the shit and we need to talk about that now. You know? Like I said, I was the shadow band sage. Can't come on those, right? I was the shadow band sage, you know?
That's what I said. We need our own, man. We can't have
that's
it
what I said.
with these
Like
people,
having
man.
them talk about the 5%, like they're not even around. They don't even know. You know what I'm saying? You know, I'll say this though. Another reason why it was allowed to be let go is because two things. Journalists didn't ask about the 5%. Wu-Tang is crucial in that too, because media really downplayed them and made them feel like they went too far on Wu-Tang Forever. So if you ever read the coverage of the W album, which I think musically is a great album, it has a lot of jewels in it, right? Once he becomes Bobby Digital, Riz is more of an experimenter.
Right.
So you get hits and misses, but you get hits that you've never heard before. Like you get real stuff you've never heard before. Right. Anyway, when the W album came out, all the interviews were about, yeah, we were too deep on the other one, we were too deep on the other one, peace. You know, and so kind of making excuses like this is not going to be that. You know what I'm saying? So then now, this is not...
The Wu-Tang Forever was too deep, or the W was too deep?
The Wu-Tang Forever was too deep. So what you're going to get now with the W is a
Watered
better
down.
mastery of... Whatever that means, mastery of being less deep.
Yeah, because there was certain
right?
songs on W.
Right. They didn't tackle as hard, you know, as far as like the concepts and stuff, you know?
Yeah, Gravel Pit on W.
Right, and the MCs that are always deep, like Jizza, their verses were much shorter. You know what I'm saying? Their verses were much shorter.
Right.
But it's not new to Wu-Tang.
Right.
OC had that issue, and he had to do it from 94 to 96. But over time, we called those albums classic. But there was a conscious effort to have these MCs say less, give less depth. OC went through it, and he talked about it from 94 to 96. But people don't know about this because 94 to 97, sorry. But people don't know this because they weren't reading the interviews at that time. But I was there. And J. Wu the Damager too. J. Wu from 94 to 96, right? Wrath of the Bat. That was also the problem. You know what I'm saying? But then J. Wu got a little bit simpler. But then he made the song where he was taking hip hop from Puffy and Biggie. So you know that controversy kept him out of getting any kind of play.
Right.
He kind of blamed Primo for the beats, but those beats were great.
Right.
It was really that song, one day. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Which was great. That's why I don't know why Medina likes to argue with me about Biggie being loved like that when there was criticism. There was love, but there was absolutely criticism about the songs that he made. It's in the records, you know. It's in the records, you know. Black Thought did it, J. Wu did it, right? Anyway, back to my point here, right? The reason I'm saying that the Wu-Tang Forever is important because by downplaying that though, it let the message be that 5% message is too deep to throw on a record. And then RZA would say, I'm going to give it to you on the Cure solo album, and it never comes.
Right.
It never makes it though. We're still getting Bobby Digitals, and he's throwing these deep RZA cuts as sprinkles, you know, and under the radar, you know what I'm saying? Or with DJ Scratch, which that one was pretty deep, that record, but it was short. It was an EP. You know what I mean? And it's how many years later, right? It's like
Right.
you're already in your 50s. It's okay to make music that's deep, right?
Right.
Whatever.
Right.
But to have these people write about us, the artists themselves started to not embrace and say that they was 5%ers though. You know what I'm saying? And then some of them would be 5%ers though, but nobody would ask though. I mentioned J Live though. Nobody was asking J Live though, you're a 5%er. But J Live's original bio for his first album said it right there. And said reasons why he deals with this knowledge and what his music intends to portray, and because of that influence. So people were given these bios and they would ignore those aspects. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't like, let's say, even the white reporters, when they covered roots reggae, they were asking people like, you know, tell me about John Rastafari. You know what I mean? And they would ask about that, but they wouldn't ask about this. You know what I'm saying? And a lot, I don't know why. You know what I'm saying? I think this. Let me keep it real with you. I think because a lot of the journalists were actually black. And that's the reason. By the time they got older, and they're a little bit older, a couple of years in this hip hop. So that's all you need, a couple of years. You've been exposed to this knowledge. You know it exists.
Right.
It's in their records. You talk to these guys. They have not embraced it. So this is not something that they're going to advocate though.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? They're going to, I was in magazines where they're saying, how come we don't have more stuff about Christianity and stuff like that? Let's cover Tupac more from that Christian angle. You know, because he talks about God and everything like that. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So it's like, I was like, man, that's not, you know, Tupac uses it as imagery, but that's not his fucking theme. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You know?
Right.
But I don't fit the bill. I'm not African American, so I'm not allowed to analyze Tupac's music. You know what I'm saying?
According to these,
Oh, of course, yeah. I got stuck doing Puerto Ricans though. Beat Nuts and Fat Joe. Beat Nuts, Fat Joe. Occasionally, hey, there's some Asians like Mountain Brothers, which were both dope, by the way. You could do them. You know what I'm saying? They would do shit like that. You know what I'm saying? So you get relegated, you get cast. You know, you get typecast into that type of people that you smart enough to write. And when I become a 5%er, they just act like, oh, well, haha, we know about that stuff. Because if you're black, you know about all spirituality's black. Where does that shit come from? The only people that would know about all spirituality's black, I tell you again and again, is someone that lives in Mecca, Harlem. Where they pitch everything, every religion gets pitched to us here, and only someone that lives here, to me, is capable of saying, I don't deal with no religions, but I know about all of these things a little bit.
Right.
It's the only type of people.
Right.
If you haven't been here, then you don't know all these different things. Don't tell me you know about Israelites, NOI, this, that, and everything like that, if you haven't spent any time here. This is where you see him interact, this is where you see him explode, this is where you see him incinerate, this is where you see him pitch, right? This is the tester. You know what I'm saying?
Especially what.
Yeah, but they thought that they knew everything because they're black though, and they thought they knew what was worthwhile and what was a phase. You know what I mean? And let's not forget though, for the journalists, since we're arguing about why journalists don't cover the 5%, the 5% though is on the street level. The journalists, black and white, but definitely black. I'm keeping it very real. Writing about hip hop music by the mid 90s, not early 90s, mid 90s already. By the mid 90s was a springboard to other things. I do this hip hop stuff. This is going to be a springboard for me to be part of BET's writing crew for this show.
Okay.
This is going to be a springboard for me writing in this bigger magazine here. You know what I'm saying?
then that was like very intentional, you think?
Absolutely. Absolutely. This was just a pit stop. This was a pit stop. So writing in hip hop magazines was minor leagues though. You know what I'm saying? So I'm writing in the magazines though. Nah, I'm not. I'm writing as a revolutionary. I'm writing like, this isn't the minor leagues though. This is the shit that I'm gonna take over, and we're gonna do this shit the right way. And this is the only shit that we need. This is the only shit I want to write in. I don't want to write in fucking Vogue. I don't want to write in GQ. I don't want to go with the brothers that I was with there that decided to go make King magazine, which was a seminal magazine, because it took porn and put it outside of the porn chamber in the magazine shop.
Right.
Until you get King magazine, you don't see naked black females in the regular whore sections. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
You don't see him. Eye Candy, the guy that made up Eye Candy is the same guy, right? Is the same guy that made up Aya-Likes and made up Show and Prove section.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying?
Oh, wow.
So don't tell me about people that was doing black devilishment because I was there watching it. I was there watching it when I said, I'll give you another pitch. I said, hey, how about we write about Jean Grey? She just did a album with Ninth Wonder though, you know? Remember I had the different covers? She did Cuban Link's cover, Hamas and Das Effects cover. Remember that?
Yes.
The 4 covers. I forgot the other 2. I think it was NWA and another one, right? And Jean Grey was dope. She was one of the best MCs, let alone females, in the 2000s.
Right.
People waited for Lauryn Hill to make albums. It was Jean Grey who made all the albums in that era, right?
Right.
You know what they said to me? They usually would laugh though. Who was that? The fucking shit that they would say. We're in a music magazine about hip hop. You go, who's that? That's the answer I would get. I didn't get that answer though, not with a female. I got the easy answer. You know what answer I got? I got, we already have our female.
We already have our female.
Because we got Eye Candy. So the model, they named the model, the whatever, she was in 50 Cent's video and shit like that, and she was in there. So that female that was half naked, that had no skills, and was just trying to develop her skills, you know what I'm saying? Bear her skills to the world. She was bearing her skills to the world that were developing, right? She counted as an artist. You see what I'm saying?
Okay.
So they already had a female artist. And I was like, but by then though, I was already, and I was like, I was already getting my paycheck. While I was there, I stopped. I would go home and not listen to music. Never happened in my life ever. Since my old earth bought me a Walkman, I have never not listened to music every free moment I've had
So
a
you
chance.
felt drained, basically.
Yeah.
Drained it.
I didn't listen to music though. I was in music magazines where I would write, because if Mecca knows, I would say, unless I'm writing about an album in hip hop, I listen to other music when I write. And I was listening to Kool and the Gang, and a well-seasoned journalist said, "Who's that?" I said, "Kool and the Gang." Mind you, it was the first album. You should know it's Kool and the Gang if I play the first album, because that's hip hop. Right? How many? Like, it's too much. And you should know, like, right? And I said, "That's Kool and the Gang. Yeah, it's funk." And he said, "Wow, I thought they were a gangster rap group. Get it? Kool and the Gang."
Wow.
Yeah, yeah.
So you had the bootleg Negroes up there.
Bootleg.
Was
Good word, because they were skilled. They no doubt they were
Yeah,
skilled.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying? They were skilled. They were
Bootleg,
skilled writers.
bootleg.
They didn't make grammar mistakes, and they could manipulate grammar, right? So they could write black if they wanted to. It's not that they can't write black,
Right.
but they weren't integrated in hip hop. So it was okay that hip hop didn't get the proper coverage, though. This was a stepping stone.
So they were still culture vultures too. Because they're not really.
The way I'm gonna be fair to them. Some of these people became comedians. Some of them became other things. Some of them became entertainers. Some of them became writers in other fields. Some of them made books of other things, right? I will say this, though, to be fair to them, right? Because some of them, they're good people. A lot of them are nice people. It's not like Trump here, though, right? It's good people, though, even though they violated the whole culture. It's good people, right? But the thing is when they were doing all that stuff, they really saw that they were just doing, first of all, their career was important to them. But they didn't realize how important it was when they wrote something, you know what I'm saying? And it impacted all the people. So when they looked at hip hop, they looked at it as like a black culture. But we do lots of black things. They didn't see it like the way we see hip hop, where if you talk about it wrong, it's going to affect the youngest people that we know. You know what I'm saying? The youngest people they know, the most street urchin people that we know. They didn't see it that way. Whereas me and Desan, when we're in that, that's the way we know it to be. You know what I'm saying? We know it to be that way. You know, so it was different. So they weren't covering us though. They weren't covering us though. You know what I mean? And a lot of the coverage of the 5% was more so a lot of white kids on the internet that were obsessed with Wu-Tang and obsessed with the lyrics and really wanted to know what these lyrics meant.
Right. Yes.
That's a fact.
Yes.
That's a fact.
So how do you think that we can be justified and covered by what you're sharing with me is it seems like these are colonized minds.
Right.
Like their minds are already colonized.
Well, getting
So
covered by a major magazine now is not even. They're not going to cover any music that a 5% would make. 5%ers don't make bad music.
Right.
So why would they be?
That's what I'm saying. But overall,
You know? But overall, no, that's what I said. Well, let me give you the ego answer first, though. It's me. That's who. The Tony Montana. It's me. That's who.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
It's me. There's nobody else. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, though, I think a lot of it is on the artist, though.
Yes.
I also think, and I've said this to you before, a lot of the artists today are influenced by us, but they don't necessarily live that lifestyle. A lot of this because a lot of the artists of this era that are better because they're older. They went through the 2000s and they didn't get signed. I'll give you one example, Rome Streets. Rome Streets was making music since throughout the entire 2000s. You know what I'm saying? And made some commendable records that he himself lauded for himself, but never had a way of putting it out himself.
Right.
So then when you see him, when he comes on Street Pharmacy, right? Not when Rosenberg found him last year, right? But with Street Pharmacy, it's like, wow, this is like refined, it's classic level stuff, it's high level, right? Just to start off like that. Because his other records are on SoundCloud, like you don't know, like development, right? So they had that time to develop because they were being shunned by labels. What out there with you got? Gold Chain Music. That's a story of K Burns. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
That's the story of K Burns. K Burns was the same. You know, he was in record labels, he was writing songs for other people, writing hooks, all that kind of stuff, but he just didn't get his break. But what he ended up doing was developing. So now you hear like a really refined MC. He's like, how did they develop like this?
Right.
Where they're so seasoned and they're so good at hooks and making songs. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
That's why. So if they are the 5%, they have to kind of also do that whole bio for themselves.
Right.
Because the other guys aren't asking. There's a lot of good journalists now. I like to talk shit, but there's a lot of good journalists. There's the Brothers Out in the Abyss podcast. There's white guys like Alex Kuchma that are very sincere up there, but they don't know this culture like that.
Right.
Because the good white journalists are. This is no knock. This is as real as it gets, though. They're immersed in the MC, the hip hop artist, but they're not from where hip hop's coming from.
Right.
So they don't really know the cultures that are derived out there.
Right.
So if they interview Raz Fresco, it's going to be different than if I did. It's
Right.
going to be totally different.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? They're not going to get that. If I interview SD9, it's going to be totally different than if they do.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Right? And so on and so forth. So I think that the artist that's 5% though needs to have kind of his own mental bio that he presents. You know? A lot of times you can't just, the artist that's 5%, I put it on them. You know what I'm saying? That they have to go in there and not just be like, what do you want to ask me? You know? They have to kind of steer the questions by answering the way that they see fit.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And that includes though when it's relevant. The song is relevant, when the culture is relevant, to make that knowledge born.
Right.
You know? And you see, you know, if the writer's writing it though, they're not always gonna do that. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
They're not always, SD when he gets covered in a complex or something, you don't know if they're gonna do that.
Right.
You know, they might not. You know what I'm saying? But he's someone that puts a lot of emphasis when it needs to be, so it gets mentioned.
Right.
But a lot of other guys don't, and it doesn't get mentioned. And you know what? A lot of MCs today, they want to be 5%, or they have the 5% ethos, but they never went under the study.
Right.
That is not a new thing.
Right.
Mm.
Right. No.
You know what I'm saying?
No.
Most of the Wu-Tang were just barely under the study.
Really?
Yeah.
Really? I thought they all had.
No, they did, but they're still under the study. They're not really as they haven't gone through 120, and they certainly didn't go through the channels like the way a student of mine or the way I was a student, where I'd stand right here.
Right.
Actually, right there, because I was the front back then, you know,
Right.
and show and prove, and have Firstborn Prince wheeling here, and have the sweat coming down my forehead and all that shit as I build, right? So they don't have that, you know, under the study. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Right?
Did Papa Wu have it?
Papa Wu had it.
Papa Wu wasn't someone that got it and became an artist. So
Right.
Papa Wu is one of the ones that was giving it though.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? He was the one that was giving it.
Yeah.
So, you know, he was as
Yeah, he was the foundation.
he was
of
as
the, of,
he
of
was
the
as
group.
official as they get.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Yeah.
Papa Wu became an artist because he was around so many of them,
Right.
and that type of way of speaking is so stylistic that he was an MC.
Right.
The way he spoke was MC, and they was like, "Yo, we gotta put that on record." There's nothing as dynamic as that. A lot of the dynamic nature that the RZA, Jizza, and Old Dirty have comes from freedom.
Right.
You
Ain't
know?
that their uncle or something?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's their blood uncle,
Yeah.
right?
Well, I think a cousin.
Right, right.
But
It's related.
might as well be an uncle.
Right.
Yeah, as family would go, he's like that uncle. You know that
Right.
older cousin that's
Right, right.
old enough, and
Yeah.
you
Right.
see him as your uncle.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
But he was the older god that put him on. When they
Right.
talk about the older god that put
We're
him
talking
on,
about him.
he's one of them.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? He's one of them. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So, you know what I mean? And he educated him though, but that rise to stardom was fast.
Right.
That is a bullet train. That is a bullet train. And back then it feels different because you have to travel
Right.
to let the world know who you are. Someone knows who you are, you have traveled the world. Now you could be a YouTube star and you didn't really go anywhere.
Right.
You know what I mean? But back then, if you're a star, that means that you went everywhere to be presented as a star. You went on tours to promote and perform.
Right.
You know?
Right.
So that's a lot. And then through all of the frivolity, through all the things pitched to you, groupies, drugs, all of these things that's pitched to you, how well do you keep up the study? How well do you keep up the application? Because I told you, right? Remember I said, it's not the knowing of the knowledge degree in the 1 to 10. It's the actualization to say, that says, that's me.
Right.
That's talking about me.
Right.
That's the only difference. Everybody had that in the NOI.
Mm.
The father was the one that said, that's me. And I'm going to go out and say that that's me.
Right.
Man, they still got it to this day, and they don't say, what the hell?
Right.
Mm.
Right. Yeah.
Right? Just show me. It doesn't say that the black man is a Muslim in that first degree.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
It doesn't say it. So they decided to go with the bedtime story and
Right.
stick with the 1 to 36. I say that as a dart because certain Muslims act like we're the children of them. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
And I don't fucking see that.
Right.
You know what I mean? I don't fucking see that. You're the ones that are still waiting for spaceships out there and playing with Dianetics books. You know what I mean?
Ooh-wee.
Right? A
Ooh-wee.
religion, and I said this because people have been asking me all week. A religion has to keep coming up with new ideas to stay relevant.
Right.
That's how religion survives, you know?
Because this.
The brothers upset, they're like, yo, I don't know why. They have Dianetics, they keep saying things that sound mysterious. It's a religion.
Yeah, they religious.
If we go, listen, once their religion exposes, then it'll still survive. They just believe what they believe. No. Because that happened in 1963 when the father left. He did it overtly. The Muslims didn't like it, and Elijah said to leave him alone. That's what all the elders taught me. He said, leave him alone. He's doing what he's supposed to do. That's not just a...
What was he supposed to do when he left?
teach that the black man is God.
Right.
Be the black man that is the true living
Right.
God at that moment.
Right.
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 And all of a sudden though, now they want to say, oh, what's he doing? He's actually saying what the shit says on the paper. How dare he?
A literal interpretation.
Now you want to get into the shit, right?
Right.
The religion's over. You know what I'm saying? Right? Cue up, it's over, right? It's over, right? The good thing is over, right? It's over. But how do you keep it going, though? How far it is. He's coming back. He's coming back one day. You know what I'm saying? You know, he might come along with the rabbi, Jesus Christ, and all these people. Mind you, while Elijah spent years and years saying that if Jesus Christ came back, though, it'd be a kind of disgusting thing. Right? Because his bones would come out of the ground. So he's basically saying that it'd be a zombie.
Right.
But I don't think they knew that word back then, right?
Mm, mm.
Right? He was
No,
saying...
he'd be renewed. He's,
Right?
come out and...
But Fard was coming back. The mothership is coming back.
Right.
The Dianetics is showing something else. This is all types of stuff. You have to keep the religion going. You need new, fresh ideas. You know what I mean? You need new, fresh ideas. You know?
So they really saying that Elijah Muhammad is on a spaceship somewhere.
They've never not said that it wasn't just Fard. It's always been just fine.
It's supposed to be
It's
a
always
farm.
been. Now some people don't, and not everybody. And when you have a religion, you have break-offs. So some people will bear witness to that. Some people don't.
Right.
Just like I see, and I could say all this shit because I walk around for years teaching here, and I walk around out there, and because I'm too light-skinned, they're not gonna say peace God, but I see him say today's mathematics is blah blah blah, and I'm like blah 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 blah. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Say it the wrong way, the way you were taught. Wisdom, knowledge. So
Right,
you keep it
right,
the way.
right.
Because if you're going to say shit about us, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Right? I have darts with everybody. Or like Wesley Muhammad, I'll never forget, because I got the cameras on me, when he said that bullshit that the 5% was the ambulance though, and the hospital is the NOI. You know what I'm saying? Fuck out of here with that shit. Nobody comes here and says that shit, and he never said that shit when I was in front of him.
Wow.
He didn't say, hell, you do an ambulance though, right?
Wow.
I know he said that.
Yeah, he said that.
Wow.
He said that on a Facebook group talking to other gods that I thought were gonna insult the shit out of him, and they were like, well, you know, to each his own, shit like that. Where did we get like this?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Where did we get like this? Because if Wesley Muhammad ever thought of saying some shit like that to me in front, he'd get fuck himself and fuck your FOI that's in front of you.
Right.
One at a time. All of them. One at a time. I'm just saying. One at a time. Because that shit is disrespect.
Yes.
That shit is disrespect. We're getting diminished because you're the ones that don't understand the lesson.
Right.
You don't understand it though.
Right.
And you made a palace though on top of misunderstanding.
Right. Right.
On top of misunderstanding, you made a palace though. You know?
Damn, Sunez, you going off, man.
Yeah, I'm giving all the history of beef. Beef brought to you by Sunez. See, this is why it's not good to have me do rap records though. You know what I'm saying? You see, I'm gonna get into some trouble with one of the songs, man. King Kimono. You know what I mean?
You
But
get
this
in
is
trouble
all.
with
This is
that,
all.
man.
This is all the beef, though. I'm saying, like, where did the 5%? Where did we get disrespected that we would be totally ignored? It's shit like this. You know what I'm saying? While we're watching lectures with Wesley Muhammad, we have to go and respect him and go watch Wesley Muhammad here and do lectures where he's finding fault in water bottles, he's finding fault in Indian deities, he's finding him in rainbows, he's finding him everywhere. But then we find the original black man, the true living God, and we say right here, the black, brown, yellow, right in front of us right now.
Right.
It says it right in the degree.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And we're the ones that's the ambulance that we're gonna take it to you guys.
That's
That's what it was for him.
That's what's fit, and I'm
Him
saying it
specifically.
specifically to him.
Yeah.
But a lot of people follow that kind of bullshit. You know what I mean? And a lot of people didn't cover us though in whatever hip hop magazines and stuff like that because they saw like we covered the NOI, and that's the major thing that the American populace knows. Why do we have to give detail about a small sect of the NOI that branched off and stuff? You know why? Because all of the shit that you hear in the lyrics is really 90% the shit that we taught and not what they taught.
right.
You know what I'm saying? After great MCs like Cam, remember Cam? And stuff like that, there really weren't any Muslim MCs that were really killing it though and dropping it like that. You know what I mean? In the mass pop, and on big record labels I'm talking about.
Right.
You know what I mean? On big record labels. You know? So I don't have no problem with NOI. You know what I mean? But if I say something about them that feels like I'm talking about Christians, then you work on it, not me.
Right.
If I say you're dealing with religion though,
Right.
don't get mad at me though. It says religion right on your forehead, right there. It says religion right there. And if I see you saying our supreme mathematics though, I get to talk my shit.
Right.
Because you're the one out there, not us. The Father was never out there doing this. Right? Mind you, this is for you too, that history. The Father never went on a podium. You'll never see it. You'll see it in Malcolm X movie, you see it everywhere. You never see the Father going on a podium and say, you black man. That's why in the Wu-Tang Hulu, you know what I'm saying? Where Steve Rizzo talk like this all the time. Rizzo has a very, very deep baritone that's very awkward, right? And they have the 5%ers pitching on the corner like Israelites. Now, Cypher, that's not what they were doing.
Right.
We had conversations that became so big that it attracted people.
Right.
But we didn't talk to strangers like, boom, hey you need to come here and get this knowledge. We didn't do that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? We didn't do that. That was all the other religions stuff, and all praises due to them.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So they were pitching. That makes you an evangelist.
Right.
When you pitch your truth of spirituality to people, whatever you think that truth is, that's evangelism. Because you're trying to get, and unlike us, even if we went out and did that though, it still wouldn't be evangelism because we never took money from anybody to give this to.
Right.
We never took money to anybody. People talk shit, the school looks like this, the school looks like that. This is a school that has never taken funding from anybody. You find you a church though that never took funding. You find you a mosque that doesn't take funding though. You know what I'm saying? Right? And don't say, you can't say that in a why, right? Because now I could talk about L. Ron Hubbard. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So there's something everywhere taking something. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
We didn't take anything and we don't take anything. You know what I mean? All the years I've been teaching, I've never gotten a salary here. That's some bullshit. I get to talk my shit. This is why we're not covered though. Because they don't see us taking payments though. And if you're not worth taking a payment though, then you're not worth writing about. Magazines, journalism, media write about money makers. That's why I call them leeches though. They leech onto the leech though. They can't leech onto us because we're not leeches though. So now you write about us though because it's important to the culture. It's important though because MCs everywhere that are influenced by us though are crucial to it though. So they might not be directly in this nation, whether they be brothers that I know like Napoleon the Legend or Elo Kush or even Spit Gems. They're all influenced though in some way of what we teach. Whether they deal with it or not, they've been influenced by some way that they learned from us something. I know because I was one of the people teaching. So this media, unless you make money, they're not going to write about you. You know what I'm saying? And the best way to see if somebody's going to make money is to see if they're taking money.
Right.
You know what I mean?
So we're not confident.
So you're not going to see it. You're not going to see it there.
Because we're not confident.
You're not going to see it in there. You know what I'm saying?
Well, that goes back to like these discussions that we've been having about capitalism, right? And you know, I had spoke on this before about how Def Jam sold rap music, well, sold Def Jam, or Russell Simmons sold Def Jam to corporate America for millions and millions of dollars. Barry Gordy sold Motown for millions and millions of dollars, right? Bob Johnson sold BET and these are all of corporate America, for millions and millions of dollars, right? But then now we look at it and be like, you know, and even now you see artists are actually selling their catalog for millions of dollars.
And we talk about Wu-Tang. I think Wu-Tang did too.
I just heard that.
Yeah.
That RZA just sold the whole catalog.
You know what makes it disappointing in some sense, a lot of this selling is that these things aren't sold because the person says, I need it to be done the right way and give it up. It's not the same. We are not.
No, this is about capital gain. Simple.
We're not white. You know what I'm saying? We're oppressed. We sell it though, and they buy it as soon as they know the formula to dilute it to the proper success. Where it could continue to sell, but not have the impact. You know what I'm saying? They sold Def Jam, but there hasn't been an impactful artist since. It's been very rare.
Right, so that's what I'm saying.
You know?
So if you look at like the culture, and we say like the, you know, having an impact in the world, like so imagine Bob Johnson didn't sell BET, Russell Simmons, like what we could do with that social resource.
Yeah.
Right, we know, but we don't have that social resource anymore.
Yeah.
So you know, it's like.
Well, you see, like the way journalism goes, right? When you are dealing with something, right? It's about writing about the community. So if it stays black, then that means black has to continue to mine black. M-I-N-E has to mine that field again. We
Seems like we get lazy with that, though.
We need new blood. We have to mine the field of where the talent is. Where they go to get the talent? Back in the black community, though. When you sell it, though, you sold the formula that got you there up to that point. That formula is compromised, though.
Right.
Because the formula is compromised, now you could sell that formula without having the mind. What happens now is that the black community fixes themselves to be part of, as opposed to the media going down and getting them. what's that new thing going on? Let's go get them. No, what happens is that you say, that's the thing that they sell though. I'm gonna fix myself to it though. And that was happening in the 2000s. And you get the, you know what I mean? Artists is, you know, so-called artists is more like performers, and they're doing their dance and saying, this is what you guys want, right?
Right.
And that's where you get the well-educated, college-educated artists, right? The Ludacris's, all of them, and they're different from an Eazy-E. They're different from these artists that don't know much, they know a lot. And they present themselves in the way that'll get them signed. And trust me, it's a lot dumber than they are, you know what I mean? Right? All of these guys, Lil Wayne, all of these guys, they all went to college. And they talk like idiots though. Like they haven't been through one class though. Right? They present themselves in such a way. And you know what we learned with Oye Son? Unique. When you get into a character, you get lost in that character too. You know what I'm saying? You get lost in that character and you become that. You know? So you say, oh, but he talks stupid all the time now. You know, it's like a formula though, like a chia pet, you know what I'm saying? Add water, you know, add drugs and sales. You know, add drugs and sales. And you get the character that you were pretending to be become very real. You know what I mean?
But isn't that how they control those artists, right? They go to drugs.
Yeah. But what I'm saying is that they didn't have to control them. They saw the formula. Because remember, I said they buy the media, and now the media stays static. It's not growing and covering the black community. It's covering what they decide to present is the black community. And what they do is now the people that want to be in the BET are presenting themselves to BET as opposed to BET going to get the talent.
Okay.
What happens then is that you get the guy, hey, you got to be like this to get on TV. You know, I need Johnny Biscuits though to come here and be next doo-wop superstar. It's just like that, just like in the 1950s. You know what I mean? So that's what you get. You get them coming like that. You know? And they present themselves a certain way. You know? Right?
So selling out to the music industry as well as getting signed is kind of like a disease, right? It's like
certainly now it's always more awkward now because you don't need to be signed. You can do this all by yourself. You know what I mean?
It's automated.
So it says a lot about people that get signed and act like they're ballers and they make money and they're super hustlers and they sell, you know, they keep saying they sell water to well, they sell, you know, water to a well, right? But at the same time, though, they're on a label and they're doing the same dance that is expected of them. You know what I'm saying? See, the thing is, though, right? Whether it's the records they make or the deaths that they engage, the deaths that they suffer, right? Like Takeoff and all these people, everything that is happening is exactly what a record label's okay with. They're okay with all of that, though. Because it's like a pop artist, their career is more like a football player's career. That plateaus very early. So if they get injured, or in this case, it's not sports, dead, they plateaued anyway. There's very unlikelihood that they would make more canonical, exceptional records, though. You know why? Never had much talent to begin with. And people go, no, they had talent, this and that. Compared to what? Right? Cue Roberta Flack. Compared to what? Compared to what? You know what I'm saying? People find talent though because they're hearing something in that small bubble and it sounds awesome. But compared to what? You know what I'm saying? It's like if I watch high school basketball all day long and I say, wow, that guy's amazing. You know what I'm saying? And you go to me, you never seen an NBA game? Come on, man. Come on. This is it. This is it. You know what I'm saying? Right? It's like poor Knicks fans, though. They always talk about how dope the team is, though. And I'm like, have you checked the other teams out that are a little bit higher in the standings? Like, this is not good ball here. You know what I'm saying? R.J. Barrett is not that great. You know what I'm saying? It's not that sold. You know what I mean? It's the same thing. You know what I'm saying? Small bubble. Small bubble. Everything sounds amazing. And Cardi B sounds like, you know, Lauryn Hill incarnate, though. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, you're in that bubble. Sounds dope.
I got a question for you, because you've been on the front line, so you've seen the culture grow, and you made Nas Born to me is something that I didn't know that what happened in the source, because you was talking about the eye candy and how they was counting the eye candy as artists.
Yeah.
Now we're in 2023, and now it's the eye candy that's the artist right now.
Yeah.
And there's a whole, and it's like
fusion,
one next after the other. So did you see that coming back then? Or what we
I
have
did.
now?
I did. I said King Magazine was where the people I was with made King Magazine, and that was a magazine that I refused to write in. I refused to ask a woman how big her breasts are. You know what I mean? These are things that I want to know intimately. These are not things that I want to know as a piece that I'm writing. You know what I'm saying? Right? So, like, you know, King Magazine has a lot to do with that. It has a shorter run than the other magazines, though. But
it's not even around, right? It fell now, right? It's gone.
Yeah, because they were able to incorporate it in a regular magazine. You know? But how did women adapt? I told you, they pitched themselves to the label. How did they adapt? Well, we become a woman that shows her body excessively, and then we try to get in some pro-woman ideas in there. And you make the exploitation of yourself a pro-woman concept. You know what I'm saying? So if I show you my pussy, then it's my choice, my body, my choice. Now it's a political statement, though. You know what I see? It's real clever. It's real clever. All while, you know, the white man with the electric guitar, right? That Jizza talks about is over there going, yes.
Yeah.
You know, Mr. Burns is in there going, yes. You know what I mean? Yeah. You know? That's the legacy. You know what I mean?
No, I got one last question.
Please do.
You were on the front lines, and especially.
I feel so healthy. I'm getting PTSD when you keep saying that. Of all the bad records I heard.
So you've seen the transition into digital, and right now, right, a lot of, like we were talking about earlier, the presenting of the artists and the controversies. Do you feel, right? Because now we're in 2023. We're in Spacey's rocket era.
Right, the era of transhumanism.
Right.
Ooh, wee.
So do you
That's another bill we have to have. Neurology has to do with that. So
Okay.
next week's class is definitely going to be about neurology and transhumanism.
Sunez, do you feel that the artificial intelligence, the algorithms in these social media apps and websites, are they now controlling as opposed to the label controlling who gets pushed?
No, it's still the label. The artificial intelligence is controlled by those people. Everything has a man at the helm. You know what I'm saying? A grafted man is at the helm of a lot of this stuff. You know what I'm saying? But that's a whole other issue, because the transhumanism goes beyond just seeing some artwork and some bad. This is what Biggie would rap like if he rapped today. Like I you know, but it's musically though. You know what I'm saying? Like we've gotten used to a digital synthetic sound. You know what I'm saying? And remember, because sampling is beautiful because it's sampling real instruments. So it's always a real instrumentation. Once you get the people get an ear for the synthetic, they lose their harmony, right? They lose their harmony, melody, natural melodies. You know what I mean? The idea that they could create their own melodies. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
A lot of this is here. Like, so you see a lot of help with rhymes. You see a lot of help with holding melody. You know what I'm saying? So you don't hear the natural melodies. You know what I'm saying? Right? You'll never get singers that are really great that are flawed. Like a Mary J, you'll never get singers like that. They'll be so auto-tuned to correct that you'll never hear their soul. You don't ever get songs like the way Etta James used to break. You know, like the way she would used to, you know, that's part of soul, where you break the note and you wail the note. You know what I'm saying? You won't get these imperfections, even with the talented anymore, because that's not how you sing anymore. You know what I'm saying? And then when you rhyme, though, you get the same topics. That's the key, the topics, though. Topics. You know what I'm saying? Rapping is a skill that can be mastered, just like playing a trumpet. Somebody can do Coltrane now, today. Massive skill can be copied over time, though, but it's the subjects, the topics, you know what I'm saying? The earth, wind, and fire. The reasons that we're here, right? The reasons that they're doing stuff. That's what gets modified and tossed out, you know what I'm saying? That's what gets ruined in the music, you know what I'm saying? Can't believe I answered that though in just a minute. You know? But
So you're doing this album with what's the name?
King Come On, it's already finished. It's already finished.
So
you know?
Is it you're releasing it when? When is it?
We haven't made a release date because it's still getting mixed, mastered. Okay. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, he's been hitting me to do something with him. I wanna do something with him.
Yeah, he's dope. King Cabal's one of my favorites though, you know what I mean? The silk peddler, always in the pocket, you know what I'm saying? But he rhymes so, I was telling you, he rhymes so much in the pocket that it gave me the freedom to just do whatever. You know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna be in the pocket. It's like we playing with a guy that dunks. I don't dunk.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Right. So I got a whole bunch of trick shots and fancy layups, you know what I'm saying? Right. And you know, jump shots, you know? But
it's interesting to, to see that you're going into artist mode. I know earlier on I was like, yo, Sunez, you ever think about it? Nah, I don't want to do that. Now
some of this is his fault though. I give it to him, you know? He forced me into that, and because we made a song that I was really proud of, you know, the 9,000 miles, I was like, okay, we could do this, you know what I'm saying? He was like, yo, I'll be ready, and he was ready at the helm. I said, yeah, let's do it. The next week, he was like, yo, I did this song, and he was throwing it at me, and it was hard because the music has topics that are more personal.
Okay.
I'll write about all types of shit that is controversial, right? As I just said, a whole bunch of stuff is controversial, right? But intimate things in my own life, though, I don't really go through, you know what I'm saying? Right. So these are things that I did on songs and stuff like that, you know? And also controversial stuff too, though. Let's say that's not the name of the song, but there is something that, I do have something that is very ether too, like ether had a sequel, you know what I'm saying?
So ether and people.
Yeah, no, ether too.
Ether too.
Right, ether. You'll know what I mean if you can figure that out.
Yeah, no, I get it.
You made an ether part 2 type drink?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Because I think the cult is, a little too, has always been heavy throughout my career. You know what I'm saying? And also why I burn bridges, because in the magazine lives by who they write about. So if I criticize an artist though, that's no good. That's who pays the bills. Right. So my criticism of certain artists weren't allowed. They weren't welcome. You know what I mean? And I would do it all the time. I would do that all the time. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, you're not messing with no publications nowadays. You're just
the only publication is the underground publication. So I'll do stuff with one. I've written for One World magazine, but that's because my brother Paragon lays that out, and we do Premier Hip Hop. So I always look out for those brothers, and they do a lot of good stuff on the West Coast. You know, but that's my brother. But if it's a major magazine, they gotta pay because they ain't writing shit for free. You know what I'm saying? And you gotta leave it the way I wrote it. Right. You know what I'm saying? Because before I was like some unknown kid writing. That ain't the case now. Right. You know what I'm saying? My name means something on the shit, so you gotta have that shit the way I wrote it. Don't be fixing it and fucking it up. You know what I mean?
So like a source is not. Are you in contact with them, or do they reach out? You don't even care. They don't like.
Yeah.
It's like whatever.
A lot of these magazines, when I started to write my books, I shared my books with all of these magazines, including with some of the people that I know inside of these magazines that are up there at the top of the chain. And they said, yeah. They gave me the, and they didn't reach out. So they left me totally independent. You know what I'm saying? And as an exercise, though, right? I set my resume to a lot of these open positions, only to get rejected. So people respect the shit that I write as a writer, a journalist. The only one doing shit like this, Vibe and all of these magazines have rejected me for their positions that are open. I'm talking about music editor positions, news editor positions, And I do it just to fuck around. I said, look at the resume. I work with your man here. I was there when he started. And they just, So they don't want it, and I know that they don't want it because I did that to prove that. You know what I'm saying?
And that's because you 5%.
No, it's because I'm Sunez though.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's because of all the shit that I did in these magazines. You know what I mean? And they're too pussy to write about real shit. You know what I'm saying? You got 1 million sales? Yo, what's up, man? What's up? That's the fucking journalism. That's fucking journalism. You know? You got 10 sales? Give me a pound. Yeah, what's up? You know? That's journalism. I just showed you journalism 101.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
That's why, God.
Yeah.
That's why.
It's been
Shit like that.
colonized,
You know what I mean? Shit like that. Niggas fake. Why do you think the biggest hashtag I use is respect fake?
Right, I'm just about to ask you about that. The whole respect fake thing. Like,
Yeah.
Respect what?
Yeah,
Respect
respect fake.
Respect fake.
Niggas respect fake.
Right.
They respect fake.
That's a
You know what I mean? They respect it though. It's glitzy. It sells. It's all this. I respect
no,
it.
but that's
They respect the shapeshifter that still blows up. They respect it though.
and so
You know what I mean?
intertwined with that conversation that we always go back and forth about. Because him and I, we go back and forth about capitalism, right?
Right,
And
right.
like,
Yeah.
He doesn't like capitalism, right? And I can see why. My
You
question
put it
is,
mildly, but yeah.
what's the alternative, right? And that's not an easy answer.
Right.
But yeah, like people are like would respect fake because
Yeah.
I gotta do what I gotta do.
Yeah.
He's getting it over here.
I have lived as best as I could by what KRS once said in Health, Wealth, and Knowledge of Self. Make money elsewhere. Hip hop, you won't abuse it. I respected the art that I was doing. I didn't want to make money in it if it was gonna have to deal with that.
People want to make money, man. People want to eat.
No,
People want
he's
to
right.
come up.
He's right.
Right.
And at the same time, though, I get to say you're a fucking bitch that's eating good. You're a fucking piece of shit that's eating well. You're an all-star of pieces of shit. You're a respect fake legend, my man. Keep making that money.
That's funny
So
because
if people make pockets the whole thing, then I can ransack their pockets though. You know what I'm saying? If they make it about the money, then I can ransack.
So is this like
You know?
you could put that in the LeBron talk about respect fake? It's a 40% championship winner in the championship. But he degrades all
Let me
the
tell you
time.
something. LeBron James though is on that respect fake shit because of the way he plays on the court though. Primarily for that. I don't get mad at him because he didn't speak out against China when he was supposed
I don't
to.
care about
Did
that.
all that.
right.
No, but he was wrong. He's supposed to, right? If he was on that shit, sacrifice your money, right? But they don't, because remember, we had people that did.
Right.
He gets called a revolutionary, but there were people that did, like Muhammad Ali, and they sacrificed all their money for this shit, right? But LeBron James has been a total bitch on many a time in the court, many a time. You know what I mean? And if teaching my daughters how to have integrity in the competitive fields that they're in, I would never have him bitch out the way he's bitched out on many occasions.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'd rather have you lose though than bitch out like that. Or go to the press conference and come with the cast after the finals you lost. It's weak shit. It's weak shit. You know what I'm saying? It's weak shit.
You know, people are
No.
love what you lose.
But but him making money though, I don't care. Make your shitty Space Jams. You know what I mean?
Shitty space.
I mean, you know.
No, but I'm just saying, like, when you
But
deal with people and their appetite.
yeah.
That's the
Yo,
illest
art is
downfall.
always difficult. Art is always difficult because when you see great music, a lot of it though is because who knew how they sold. Like when you look at how Redman sold, that's really not supposed to sell. And if the same exact Redman had come out right now, nobody would fuck with it.
Nope.
If There Is a Dark Side came out today, nobody would fuck with it.
Nope.
Muddy Waters, nobody would fuck with it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Some people get the luck, the opportunity of being at the perfect time.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Right?
Well,
That's just the way it is.
that machine
And the
wouldn't fuck
majority of people that make great music, right? That make really worthwhile music though, are not in that time of where money hits at the same time.
Right.
If not, then hip hop wouldn't be good. I'll tell you why. Hip hop, the best of hip hop is sampling beautiful music.
Right.
Right.
We talk about Wu-Tang, Cream.
Right.
Did you ever hear the original of Cream? It's a beautiful song. RZA didn't have to do much on that one. That was a great dig.
Right.
How did the Charmels with that song not blow up like that and become incredible hit? You know what I'm saying? It's because music doesn't always blow up. You know what I'm saying? Right? You have people blow up that are legends. Aretha Franklin, but what about Linda Jones, who could belt it as much as anyone and has right? My favorite has always been Phyllis Hyman though. She's a perfect example of a singer
that never really blew up, right? Because a lot of that's Clive Davis trying to disco her out and fucking her up.
Yeah, they made a lot of bad decisions, bro.
Right? Yeah, they did. But she still made massive amounts of classics.
Right.
Is a legend, one of the most beautiful singers ever. Like, her voice was perfect to me. You know what I'm saying? To me. I give a whole bunch of technical reasons why. But I'm just saying, I love Phyllis Hammond. That's my number one. You know what I'm saying? But what I'm saying is, though, she didn't have the career that people expected her to have. It doesn't always collide.
Right.
You know, it usually doesn't. It usually doesn't. You know what I'm saying? Right? But so if it doesn't always collide, though, I'm not gonna respect it. If it the media is the one that actually deliberately makes it collide. They make this shit collide. They decide the artist that they're gonna. They love a person like Drake, not because Drake is bitch and all that kind of shit, but because Drake is consistent. He'll be consistently weak, consistently submissive to everything. He's gonna be on time, all this kind of shit. And you can write about him forever though, and it's always gonna be a consistent meal ticket. And he breeds consistent meal tickets. Now you get other guys coming again, singing softly, talking soft, and you know, and you get, oh, it's safe though. Right? Remember, the journalism world though, to get the piece though, you want to talk to Redman, you gotta go to Newark.
Right.
I don't want to fucking. I used to be in rooms that goes, I'm not going to fucking Newark. People are like, oh look, we gotta do Fat Joe, but we're gonna have to go to, you know, we're gonna have to go out there to South Bronx and shit. I don't want to go out there. It was snowing out there for the wrong reasons. I'm not going out to the Bronx though. What if I ask the wrong question though and I don't make it back? You know what I mean? Oh wait, you mean I gotta go to Brownsville to talk to MOP? I don't know, you know, back then, you know, it's go, let's do a phone interview, let's do Zoom, let's Zoom Billy Dance on Zoom, you know what I'm saying? It wasn't like that back then, you have to go to the neighborhood, you know what I'm saying? I used to have to go to neighborhoods, I went to the Bronx, I wouldn't live in the Bronx until 4 years later. I went to the Bronx to talk to Fat Joe, you know what I'm saying? I didn't know what the fuck I was doing then. I had no idea where the fuck I was. All I knew was where that green bulb was, that train station. Just in case, you know what I mean? Just in case. You know? Right? We leave the trail at Totones so you can find the fucking train. Right? Because you don't know what might happen though. Fat Joe be very cool with me. But then when I leave, everybody fucking hates me. I don't know, right? How powerful is he, right? Right? When I really took the tour of Brownsville, I was with Thurston Howell though. I wasn't by myself, you know? But he's an ambassador though. You could walk through Brownsville with him, you know? They took care of me, you know what I'm saying? But, you know, that's not what was comfortable though. Nas is gonna have to come here. I'm not going to Queensbridge. Are you fucking crazy? Let's go to Queensbridge to interview Bob Deep. You know? After a while, they're like, I don't like this idea. We'll go to the label. Right? So, they make things easier, you know? I'm not saying that I like the dangerous way. I don't think it's meant for everybody. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, I prefer to go to,
let
me go see.
Right, in their habitat.
Right,
that's the way,
Let me go build
where they're comfortable, not in sitting in front of like a desk and stuff in some corporate boardroom.
Studio or something.
That's how you used to do it. You'd be in like a boardroom that was like a corporate boardroom and you'd be talking to the artist there. You know? That's how I did Terror Squad. You know? I was in the boardroom. It was mad awkward for all of them.
When I was a journalist, because I've like read some articles, I can't name exactly who it was, but you know, like I would read the story and it seemed like, all right, well, I met him over here, or I was at, you know, I called him at the end of the show and I got this piece, and then, you know, I might have met him at his house somewhere, you know, or at a restaurant, and then they pieced the whole thing together artistically, right?
That's how they do it. All these artists, like when I mentioned J Live, I went out to Brooklyn to meet him and I was at his house, you know what I'm saying?
I mean, did you piece it together, like the story, like you
it was all my responsibility. They would try to guide you to that, and the guiding would become more intense as the years went on. Like you said, like I never got to interview Jadakiss because when they asked me to, they also told me, listen, when you talk to Jadakiss, talk about this beef. I said, I don't talk about no fucking beef.
Fuck that. I want to talk about his music though. I never talked to him before though. He's got a lot of albums. I want to talk about. You know, if I'm gonna piss him off about some bullshit, I'm gonna talk about why he picked those beats.
Right.
I'm not gonna talk about, you know what I mean? I'm gonna talk about how he rhymes, all that kind of shit. He said, oh no, we'll get somebody else. That's the shit. Yeah, we get somebody else. You know? I was young though. I was saying what I was gonna do. Yeah, I wouldn't keep it to myself. You know what I'm saying? So, you know. But you know, that's what it is. You know what I mean? This whole thing this whole era I call the invisible renaissance because it's a huge, incredible world though. But it's not anywhere all these rappers are signing these bullshit deals. You know what I'm saying? And you can live off it. You know what I'm saying? You can live off it and make a nice income.
Right.
A lot of the greatest MCs have day jobs, but they get a lot out of their records too. You know what I'm saying? And some of them are eating. You know what I'm saying? Solely off hip hop. You know? They worked it out. They found the niche and all that. You know? But as it gets bigger and bigger, though, the niches will mutate. You know what I'm saying? As we see now, they're mutating and they're becoming like commercialized in that underground. You know what I'm saying? Like you see commercialization of. It's like you know. It's like a beast eating itself. It's
No, you can see like commercialism is going to seep away its way in.
Yeah, because now you sell your product. Now you do the same things that they did.
Right.
You sell the cliches. You sell all this shit. You know? Yeah. It's like Animal Farm. Fucking Animal Farm. Seriously. But yeah. Did I say enough to get me in trouble?
We're gonna have the trouble.
Get the Muslims all
not just the Muslims, man.
Everybody,
you know,
everybody in
we
trouble.
have trolls. We have
One of the trolls though, he's gonna be like, hey, how dare you? So
If Mecca did this.